What if Ahsoka turned Anakin back to the light side? Well, this all starts when Ahsoka cuts open Anakin's helmet. It reveals Anakin. Ahsoka didn't have time. She would beg Anakin, but he wouldn't listen. She had one final attempt, and she didn't have too much time. So she said that you were my family. I trusted you more than the Jedi. You were my brother. You were the person who helped me in my darkest times. Don't leave. She would start crying. Anakin felt something. He was getting the happy memories with Ahsoka. His eyes were slightly flickering, blue and orange, blue and orange. He didn't know what to choose. He was thinking of the happy moments and the sad moments. He thought of how Ahsoka betrayed him. But he realized it wasn't Ahsoka's fault. It was the Jedi's fault. And he realized that there was still Anakin in him. Ahsoka felt this change. She didn't have time, so she broke the floor just to save Anakin and ran back into the ship. Obi-Wan was munching on some death sticks when he felt something through the Force. It wasn't a disturbance like Yoda always says. It was something peaceful, a familiar feeling, a happy feeling. He thought it was Anakin, but there's no way. Anakin was gone. But the more he realized it was Anakin, Anakin was still traumatized. He got on his ship and he was thinking about his choices. He went back to his castle for reflection, but he didn't go to his Mustafar castle. He went to a different castle, a more peaceful area. He went into his bacta tank and started meditating. He started meditating. He felt the happiness, the joy, being on Naboo with Padme, going on missions with Ahsoka, going on missions with Obi-Wan, and training with Obi-Wan, the happy moments. But then something unexpected happened. He got the horrible feelings, Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order, Obi-Wan just leaving him to die, and Padme not joining him and abandoning him, and the Jedi abandoning him. He knew the Jedi were evil. He knew it. He was getting so angry right now. He didn't know what side to choose. He was conflicted. He was meditating for hours, more hours than he knew. He was getting pruned, but he didn't care. But then he thought of something. He killed all the younglings, and Obi-Wan only left him there because of the hurtful things Anakin said to him. And he realized Palpatine wanted Padme to die. He saw the smile on his face right after Vader lashed out. He was a great Jedi. He had anger and love. He wanted to communicate. He needed to communicate. He made up his mind. He couldn't go back to Palpatine. He was afraid to go to Obi-Wan. He thought Obi-Wan would reject him, but he thought Ahsoka, she tried to change me. She never gave up on me. So he went straight to Ahsoka. The problem was he didn't know where she was. He looked everywhere, but then he felt something. He felt like Ahsoka was communicating. Ahsoka did feel him and was communicating. She was telling Vader to subscribe to my channel, which you should, and she also was telling him to come. He couldn't tell the coordinates, but he just followed his heart. He flew his ship, and it was in the middle of space. But a small craft came, and Vader boarded that small thing. Inside was just Ahsoka alone. Ahsoka tried to sense the darkness, but there was none. It was Anakin Skywalker, but something was not right. He was conflicted, still. He didn't know what to do, but Ahsoka felt something. She knew he probably trusted him. And right away, Anakin started apologizing to Ahsoka. Sorry for what I did and everything. Ahsoka accepted, and she said it was not your fault. It was the Jedi's fault for holding you back against your will. That you've done so much for them, but killing is not the answer. Anakin looked down, or Darth Vader, because he was wearing his helmet. He just looked down. He felt disappointed for what he had done. Ahsoka had done something nobody had done for him, gave him a second chance, and she offered him to come with her, come to the rebels. He said, no, I must kill Sidious. Ahsoka said okay, and asked to join. Vader said yes, but he was worried. He knew the two of them couldn't stop him alone. He asked if she knew any more Jedi. She said yes, two more. And Darth Vader said, I know Obi-Wan's not dead, but I don't know where he is. And Darth Vader also, or Anakin also knew that Yoda was alive because Palpatine would talk about him a lot, gloating how he beat Yoda, and Yoda was forced to retreat. Palpatine could not feel Vader. Instead, he felt Anakin Skywalker, but it was different. He was angry, but started to laugh. Foolish boy. Now he will experience the full power of the dark side, and sent all his Inquisitors, which were very few, because this was at the end of Rebels Season 2, and yeah, most of them died. So Palpatine sent as many Inquisitors as he could, and he sent two of his personal guards. And just to be safe on the Death Star, Palpatine set up many levels, stormtroopers, and much more. And for the final thing, Palpatine used an ancient ritual. Meanwhile, Ahsoka tried to reach out to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan felt it, and he immediately responded. This was a rare ability, and Obi-Wan told her to come to Tatooine. And Ahsoka said she had a surprise, but you must trust me. And Obi-Wan was wondering what it was and said, okay. Soon, Ahsoka came to Tatooine, met Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan was in shock. He said, Vader, because he fought Vader in the Kenobi show. Still think they could have done a better job on the show. I honestly give it like a 6 to 6.5. Reva was a horrible villain, and there's not enough Vader, but still. And the dueling was very, very mid. Okay, back to the topic. So he was shocked. He felt Anakin still. He didn't trust him though, and Ahsoka tried to talk Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan gave him a chance, because as much as he didn't want to forgive him, he also wanted to deep down inside. It's like he wanted to and didn't want to. And Anakin begged for mercy still, and Obi-Wan gave him one final chance, but didn't, as I already said, why am I repeating myself? And but he didn't completely trust him, and said, in order to gain my trust, you must earn it. And then Obi-Wan took them to Dagobah, where Yoda was there. Meanwhile, Yoda was having death sticks when they came. He spit it out and yelled at Anakin for what he had done. He was calling upon the Force. He was force choking Anakin. Something no one saw Yoda do. But Obi-Wan stopped him, and Yoda said the same thing, but Obi-Wan trusted him a little bit. Yoda didn't trust him at all. The only person in the room that actually trusted Anakin was Ahsoka. But the four of them decided to go to the Death Star. But first, they made some modifications to Anakin's suit so it'd be better for him to duel. The suit was more comfortable. There were no needles poking through him, and his arms could go over his arms could go higher. He didn't need to call upon the Force to walk. His mechanical feet were perfect, and his strikes got more powerful, and they fit for a Form 5, but not an acrobatic version. But he was definitely way more powerful, and he needed some practice. Obi-Wan and Yoda taught him, though Yoda hesitated, and they grew to trust Anakin a little more, sensing more light in him. But then they went to go confront Sidious. Not the four of them, the six of them, because Kanan and Ezra. So they went to confront. They went to confront Palpatine. As soon as they reached there, several stormtroopers came and attacked them, and Vader was testing out his suit. It was way comfier. He was taking them out way easier than before, and it was perfect. Ahsoka was too. Ezra and Kanan were taking out some stormtroopers as well. They weren't as powerful, but they were, they were okay. So and then they proceeded. On the next level, there were two Inquisitors, and Kanan and Ezra said they'd handle it, and they told the rest of them to go. They nodded and left. And on the next level, there was Palpatine's guards. They were handpicked by Palpatine himself, and they could hold their own against Jedi. But these weren't any Jedi. These were the most powerful Jedi in the Order, and they took them out with ease. Vader still getting used to his suit. On the final level, it was Palpatine. He was looking out his window. He turned, and he said, "Welcome." And Anakin said, You're outmatched." And he said, "Am I?" As I said earlier, Palpatine did a ritual. He cloned more versions of himself through this ritual. This was one of the last things Plagueis taught him. But they could barely sustain themselves for a while. They were slowly disintegrating. He didn't master this technique perfectly, but they were powerful enough to take them down. They fought with all their might, and it was getting harder. Yoda had taken out two of them, but he was getting old, and one of them stabbed him in the back. Yoda had died. And the three Jedi remaining were mad, very mad. At this time, Kanan and Ezra came. They just finished when the Palpatines just electrocuted them. And Vader was shocked by the power. So Palpatine said, "Join me." He's like, "No, I will never join you." Vader knew what he had to do. He told everyone to go back to the ship, and he would join them. But he was lying. At first they were hesitant, but after Anakin gave them a good force push, he closed the door. He used a lot of his life force just to break this room apart. And Palpatine and Anakin, the Palpatines, not one. The Palpatines and Anakin were separated from everyone. And Vader saw something very flammable. He would just use his lightsaber, but it would cause in all the Palpatines dying, including him. Vader fought them. He took down at least two, and when the main Palpatine electrocuted him, he saw what Vader was doing. Vader and Palpatine kept electrocuting him, but it did not affect Vader. He was thinking of all the happiest memories he could think of, and he was thinking about going back to Padme. This was not affecting him. He used the Force and switched Palpatine's hands, the real one, to the flammable thing. I don't know what it's called, but like the flammable thing, and it exploded the whole room. Vader was dead. Anakin was still alive though, because the Force Ghost thing, because Yoda taught him in his final moments, as a Force Ghost. And Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, felt this, and they started crying, and by the time Obi-Wan completely trusted him, it was too late. Ahsoka started crying, but it was for the best of the galaxy. And that's it for today.